Hey, what's going on, bro? It's time to make some dough. Yo, yo. Hey, this is gonna be a super easy recipe for you to follow. This works really good on the big green egg, but it also works great on a gasser. You can throw it right on your grill as long as the temperature's up hot enough. And you're also gonna be surprised at how easy dough is to make that tastes pretty decent. Couple secret weapons I'm gonna throw at you right now. Here's the total ingredients list right on your screen. Boom. One of the key ingredients is your flour. So I worked in a pizza shop when I was a teenager for quite a while, and they used the good old King Arthur flour, comes in the big huge satchels. But one of the things I found is that if you go with a 00 or 00 flour, it seems to be finely ground, like pulverized better. The 00 is one of the secrets. Now, if you can't find it, just getting a regular white flour, it's still gonna turn out. You start with 2.5 cups of that. Then we're gonna take a teaspoon of sea salt or Himalayan salt. Squirrel! I buy the Himalayan crystals and grind them. I like it. It packs a little bit more of a punch. So I like it. So we're gonna put that right in the dough mix right now. The next ingredient that we're gonna go to is sugar. We're gonna also use the same amount of sugar as we did salt. We're gonna go with a teaspoon of that, and that goes right in the mix. I'm not exactly sure what the sugar does.
Diabetes.
But I think what it does is it gives it a little bit more caramelization on the crust once exposed to the high temperature. Next thing we also wanna consider is extra virgin olive oil. Now again, here's a little tip that I've done. We have about 2 tablespoons of EVO. But what I like to do in my mixing pot that I have all of my flour and other ingredients in is I like to pour this around the outside edges.
Give us some.
And the reason why I like to pour it around the outside edges is because when I use my KitchenAid, and it spins around, the oil actually coats the outside edges of the pot and it keeps it from clumping up as much. Next thing we do is we have yeast. Yeast. Now, this is the other secret weapon to making good grill pizza. If you buy normal bread yeast, you have to let it sit for about an hour or longer to get that dough to rise up. If you use the pizza dough yeast that Fletchman's makes, they actually tell you not to wait at all. They tell you to mix it and cook it. And it's just a different formulation of the yeast. I have found this yeast works really good. In fact, I have better results using this pizza yeast that's fast rising than regular dough yeast that you have to let sit for an hour or 2 or longer. I sprinkle this on top, and then finally I have my water. Here's a tip. I'm going to click this into my mixer and I'm going to start mixing it, but I'm not going to add the water until the mixer is going. And I'll tell you the reason why. It's like mixing cement. It's really easy to add too much water and make this dough just runny, and we don't want that. We're going to lock her in, lock her down, sit her on low, and I'm going to actually add this along the edges just like I did with the oil. Once it starts to get clumpy like this, you want to be careful. So I actually take just a pinch more water and pour it in on the side, just like that, and I give it a mix. What this is gonna do is it's gonna pull the Klingons off the side. Now, you're gonna wanna mix this up until it gets to that dough consistency. What you don't want is super sticky this, because you're never gonna make pizza. It's just gonna be a total nightmare. And your wife's gonna love you for being in the kitchen if you try to spread this out on her counter. Fatality. So what I always do is reserve a little bit of flour, and believe it or not, just a little sprinkling of this on the actual dough itself will really change the composition of the dough. And just with a little bit of stirring, with that extra bit of flour, I actually end up taking this dough ball and just kind of folding it into itself a few times. And as you can see, this is actually nice. It's not sticky anymore. And this is gonna make some nice pizza. Now that I've got this pretty much processed, you can let this sit in the bowl covered if you're using regular yeast for an hour. Make sure you throw a damp towel over it. Again, we're using this secret weapon pizza dough, and we're going to not let this rise at all. We're gonna cut this and use it immediately. All right, I'm gonna grab my pizza peel, or you can use a cutting board. I'm gonna take my dough ball again. I'm gonna lightly flour this so the dough don't stick. We're gonna stick it down. We're gonna cut it in 2 pieces. That way we have 2 doughs. Set one of those aside, and then I'm gonna take this again, and I'm just gonna lightly fold it in. Again, what I'm doing is I'm taking the ball, and I'm just kneading that baby right in. And then what this is gonna help the dough stretch in a minute. Once I get a nice uniform ball, take a little bit more flour, And we're gonna stick it down. I punch it. As soon as you start moving this around, it's gonna start getting sticky. So again, make sure you flour the dough. Not gonna hurt it, it's all made out of flour anyways. And we're just gonna dimple the dough around with our hands, just like this. You don't wanna hurt it. We gave birth to this. Once the dough has been circulated out, use gravity to kind of just pull it out. But be careful, you don't want to tear this like that. And you'll have to start over. Good as new. Now that we have the dough ready to go, make sure that it's slippery on your pizza peel or cutting board, because once you start putting toppings on this and it gets stuck, you're gonna have a world of hurt when you try to transfer this over to the grill or the big green egg. So let me throw some toppings on this. Big green egg is up at 500 degrees. If you have a gasser, make sure you got that baby all the way up. It's gonna take approximately 5 minutes, but you really gotta watch it because the hotter the egg and the hotter this thing sits on the stove, the faster it cooks. If you can get your egg up above 500 degrees, this thing will cook in like 2 or 3 minutes and it's gonna be excellent. After only a couple minutes, look at this baby. Ooh. This pizza dough came out amazing. We got a prosciutto and mozzarella. Let's take a cut of this. The dough itself is nice and crispy on the outside, but I can feel it is a little chewy on the inside. It's not delivery, it's homemade.
My God, are you still talking?
Hey, no. What are you doing? He's stealing my pizza. Oh yeah.
Delicious.
Hey, what the heck? Okay, if you like it. Since I have no more pizza left to share with you, if you like this video, please check out my other videos on how to cook, subscribe, and chuck me a comment down there in the comment section, why don't you? Also, if you really want to know how to make pizza from start to finish without making the dough on a big green egg, I got another video upcoming on my channel. As always, be safe out there, and don't let your kids in the kitchen.
Eat some pizza while you're at it.